So in this video, I'm gonna react to this video by Hip Hop Madness. Lil Baby is lost and confused. I haven't heard much from him. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know. I'm not even. I'm gonna be honest. Like I think some of his music is pretty good, but it's not like he's just not the type of person I listen to all the time. For real, like not somebody I would buy tickets to go to or stay up all night waiting for the album to drop or anything. Just not my type for real of that. But I can recognize that he goes crazy on some songs. But anyways, let's just see why he lost.
Yes, man, in the studio with them that keep telling him to put out these trash ass music. They don't got confidence in one song no more. You keep putting out 2 and 3 songs at a time, hoping you'll catch one of them, and not one of them is hitting. When are we gonna really talk about this?
Generally speaking, for a window of around 3 years, the rapper lesser known as Dominique Jones had more momentum and combined goodwill than any other artist in the field. Commended by old heads and seen as the leader of the new school by his contemporaries, Baby might not have meaningfully entered the game until 2017, but he wasted no time in becoming one of the biggest names in the culture. And after a stellar mixtape run, the release of 2020's My Turn wasn't just critically acclaimed and commercially lucrative, but had one of the most fitting album titles we've seen in a while. A #1 record that came complete with a modern protest anthem that took him to the top of the charts. Baby was at the vanguard of the trap movement, and before long, he was receiving the
Sure.
I stamped it.
Suddenly, Baby was on such a pedestal that he found himself performing at the FIFA World Cup, something usually only reserved for megastars, putting Baby in front of the eyes of 2 billion televisions globally. But while Big Loon spoke of his current prominence and the position that it granted him, there are now concerns over Lil Baby's staying power, as due to the combination of persistent factors, the public that elevated him are now begging him to stop rapping. Once seen as a reliable source for undeniable club bangers, Lil Baby now stands accused of falling into the familiar trap of getting comfortable and milking his sound, all the while refusing to alter his sound or respond to the criticisms that he's receiving. Back at the outset of his career, Lil Baby, who never envisioned himself as a rapper until he was coerced into it by Young Thug, was as focused as they come, releasing 7 projects in the space of just 2 years. Lil Baby evaded distractions and kept working. Along the way, he refused to be lured into petty beefs, even when everyone tried to pit him against DaBaby over similarities in their names.
So many tried to go that way with me, but I always curved it from day one. When it came out and he blowed up, and then it was like he DaBaby, and I'm Lil Baby. He don't sound like me. He ain't trying to kick my swag. His name just DaBaby. It's enough money for both of us, as you see.
Possessing the kind of shrewd mindset that most rappers would benefit from, Lil Baby stayed locked in with his craft, flooding the market with new music and becoming such a safe bet that even the biggest stars such as Nicki Minaj and Drizzy solely relied on his sound to boost their EPs and singles. At the time of his peak, Lil Baby's sound was so undeniable that many respected critics expected him to be the next Drake and eclipse the man that put him on with Yes Indeed.
There was a time when a Drake feature helped Lil Baby. I think right now Drake might need that Lil Baby feature. Let's be clear, a lot of the Drake records, at least of late, haven't really taken off.
Fast forward to 2023, and not only does it not seem like Lil Baby has any chance of overtaking Drizzy, but there's a concern about him maintaining the success that he's currently riding on. Fresh from dropping a snippet like 350, which is essentially just a rehash of everything he's done for the past 4 years, Lil Baby is facing heat from his own fanbase. Notably, Kai Cenat, while not directly calling out Lil Baby, skillfully sidestepped commenting on the song itself and instead focused all criticism on the production.
I'm not even joking, the beat's louder than him. No, fire the producer. Bro, why is the beat louder?
With some fans admitting that, I think it's time we start having that conversation in regards to Baby's fallout. Combined with canceled tour dates across the nation, it's not a great time to be in the 4PF camp right now. So how do we get to the point where Baby's magic is wearing off? And what can be done, if anything? Well, for starters, let's broach the issue that he had in terms of selling tickets. In July, it was revealed that Lil Baby had canceled a series of shows on his It's Only Us tour, which saw Baby head venues that tend to have capacities of around 15,000 to 20,000 people. In essence, it's the kind of venues that someone like Drake, Cole, or Kendrick, the big threes, routinely sell out. Left with no explanation in terms of why the shows were pulled, fans immediately assumed that it was low sales that led them to be unceremoniously canceled. But while this was the most overt example of Lil Baby not being a draw, the warning signs were there even during his peak. Hot on the heels of their collab project, The Voice of the Heroes, Baby and Lil Durk launched their Back Outside tour. Staged at a time when fans were ravenous for shows after lockdown, it was immediately assumed that, by way of their combined hype, these shows would easily sell out. But, as academics would reveal on the Flagrant 2 podcast, Baby might have overestimated his own hype.
He's trying to do arenas about 10,000 to 15,000. You imagine it's Baby. Yeah. They say his tour is doing bad. You'll never see him post that his tour is sold out. It's not selling that much.
Alongside acknowledging that Jack Harlow opted for smaller rooms and was consistently selling out, Baby may have later posted that the tour actually grossed $15 million, but not selling out ultimately hurt his brand, because unfortunately for artists, in hip-hop, optics are often all that matters. So once fans unanimously think you've fallen off, it's almost impossible to regain momentum, regardless of the music. Take a look at someone like DaBaby, for example. He's arguably...
I'm not gonna lie, he was very much in control of, I think, that entire situation. He just fucked up over and over and over and over again. Like, it was just like a fucking, like, domino effect, snowball effect, whatever you want to call it, but that...
dropping the best music of his career right now, but now that the public view of him has turned, it'll always be reaching a diminished audience. In terms of how this factors into Lil Baby, this can be seen in the reaction to both 350, Crazy, and other recent snippets that he shared. Although they don't sound drastically different from anything he's released before, the response has been one of absolute revulsion from his fans. In terms of recovering from this, it's a delicate balancing act. Currently, fans are seeing in real time that it can be overcome through Baby's former collaborator, Gunna. Within the space of dropping his new project, A Gift and a Curse, Gunna went from being labeled a snitch for taking a plea deal to suddenly being welcomed back into hip-hop's good graces without
attention spans are so fucking, like, short that, like, you can, like, piss people off and then just give it a little bit, just give it a little bit of time. You can come back out and then be like, boom, and then everybody's like, oh, hey, what's up? Like,
from many rappers. As to how this happened,
I'm not like that. I remember what you did. I don't really care about a motherfucker snitching. I don't give a fuck. But if you like sexual assault, so if you was on some weird, really ruthless, nasty, or terrible timing, no, stay where you was at, bro.
And, well, that actually does come down to the output to a certain extent. As while Gunna advanced musically on his new project and made something compelling, Lil Baby has remained stationary.
I listened to the project and I said, this is interesting. Keep in mind, QC pretty much froze everybody on the label and allowed Lil Baby to keep dropping singles every 4 to 6 weeks up until the release of this project. Song after song after song after song after song, which might have been good. I believe that led to watering down the sound. Lil Baby has a very...
Dude, when you, like, I said this in another video, I think about something with Drake. I don't know. But if you continuously, like, release all the time, it kind of makes it not as even, like, valuable. Like, I don't know, I was saying something about Kendrick releasing, so he doesn't release that often, and you almost are, like, anticipating, like, oh my god, what does he have in store? Oh my god, when it drops, you, like, want to be the first one at 12 a.m. Like, what the fuck, I want to hear it. But when you just releasing every few months or 2 projects a year, like, it's just like, I feel like first there's not a lot of quality that goes into it because you're not even putting that much time into it, but also it's just like, bro, you released like 2 weeks ago, like, it starts to get too much.
Noticeable cadence, his rhyming scheme, the way he drones through a hook is very noticeable and is very replicable. It's the reason why we think he's making the same song over and over and over and over and over and over again. He dropped all of those and then right after announced an album, and then at that moment, for whatever reason, he dropped the worst versions of him trying to make those same songs again.
Here, we have all the issues stemming from Lil Baby's latest project, It's Only Me. Following the love that his previous album received, topping the record was always going to be difficult. But during a release day interview with Angie Martinez, Baby downplayed the weight of expectation when it came to surpassing My Turn's success.
I'm not even in that same space no more to even, like, compare it.
But no pressure to live up to it because people love that album.
Not, like, pressure to live up to it because I'm not living up to that album. That was just what I had dropped. So I'm trying to, like, live up to everything I do, if that makes sense. That would be me thinking small. I'm on some way bigger and better.
Eager to paint his upcoming project as a departure from the past, Lil Baby's press tour implied that the next record coming down the pipeline will be full of depth that we haven't seen from him before.
I feel like my music more listening. You gotta listen to what I'm saying. It ain't really too much just shoot 'em up, bang bang, or super catchy. You kinda gotta just like real shit. Not saying I don't say nothing about shoot 'em up, bang bang, cause that's real too. But for the most part, I feel like you gotta just listen to what I'm saying and understand it.
When it was released, It's Only Me did outperform My Turn in terms of first week sales, but that's about the only way it beat his previous album. As for starters, this apparent new level of introspection in his bars was completely missing.
When you're even looking at Lil Baby and the way that he actually forms his rhymes, you'll notice that from one line to the next, There's no logical continuity. He'll splurt out something random and follow it up with something that has nothing to do with the previous line. So he's not setting himself up for any punchlines on here. That hook to Hey, it's the
so
catch.
Then what he was talking about, like, you need to listen. Like, listen to what exactly? If you're not really saying shit, if you're not saying nothing deep or something where we gotta be like, okay, you just said this. Oh my God, that shit was hard, bro. Did you see? He said, blah, 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 and then he said this in the next line because he did it. You know, if it's not that, then what is we trying to listen to?
Thing on here, bro.
Yeah.
Nothing sticks. Nothing is addictive the same way that you got addictive melodies on songs like Emotionally Scarred, for example, on the previous album. This is a major regression from Baby.
A record which was widely panned for its repetitive sounds, critics were quick to point to the fact that he fell off with the production too.
The production choices on this project are pretty bland too. Very thin trap beats with mild 808s and hi-hats and snares that are basically emaciated. They're so lifeless. I'm actually kind of surprised to see most of the writing credits on these tracks mentioning at least a handful of people. If I didn't know any better just listening to the quality of this record, I would have assumed this whole thing was thrown together by a skeleton crew of Lil Baby, a couple of producers, and maybe an engineer.
On top of the fact that these tracks were somewhat lacking in creativity, what also needs to be factored in is that to a certain section of his fans, they had garnered an affection for him that was left unfulfilled. When Lil Baby dropped The Bigger Picture at the height of the BLM movement, he quickly found himself with his very first Billboard #1 hit, suddenly giving an empowering track that was completely outside of his usual sound. Lil Baby earned himself a bunch of new fans. But when it came to feeding this new audience, they've been
the way he just stood up on that car made me
neglected. And even though Coach K claimed they all stuck around, it seems like that was temporary, as opposed to leaning into acquiring game. But it has diminished some people's ability to root for him when he's constantly chasing the bag rather than feeding them with his artistry.
What have you learned from those guys?
I learned a lot. I ask questions. They know answers to questions we don't even know about. They 10-year-old kid know that. But they couldn't tell me nothing about the streets, though.
Hanging with billionaires who were infatuated by hip-hop culture while he garners a physical education, it's unsurprising that Baby wants to learn the ropes of business, considering that he's already been talking about his exit strategy from rapping.
I don't want to be an old rapper.
Really? You know everybody says that.
I just always had that thought in my head, like, I don't want to be no older rapper, like 35, 36.
While this could be understandable if it was just a simple side mission, some images from Baby with the Billionaire Boys Club suggest that the relationship isn't as focused for Baby as he made it out to be. Pictured in what academics described as hugging in the Oreo position, there's a sense that he's treated like a novelty by billionaires. And while ignoring the negative comments might have worked at his peak, there's tangible proof that he needs to switch his approach. And according to ACT, it starts with his recording process.
I heard a story about Lil Baby. I've never been in the studio recording with him ever, by the way. They said when Lil Baby's about to record, he usually kicks out a lot of people out of the studio. He don't like to record in front of a lot of people. Secondly, when he's recording, he never wants the recording to be played out loud. He wants to keep it between him and the engineer until it's like finalized. That sounds like your creative process isn't maybe helped, or even you're hell bent on doing what you want to do.
Yeah. And you don't take anybody else's, critiques or anything where you're like, maybe you should do this. Maybe this sounds too much like the last thing you just put out. Maybe this, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's not a lot of room for growth, especially if he's not listening to what his fans' opinions are and stuff like that. It just seems like he's probably going to stay in the same place. So maybe exiting from rap is the best thing, being with them weird billionaires and doing weird things for some change and shit like that. You know, you feel me? Whatever, I guess. I guess. The fuck? But yeah, I'm not surprised. I feel like when you come in with a certain sound and you don't evolve from it within, like, I don't know, the first year, I feel like you're just kind of going to go on a downward spiral. And I think even with that picture where it was like Polo G, the Baby, Lil Baby, and it was Roddy Ricch, their music sounded from the same. Like, it's nothing to like, oh, they're versatile. Oh, they're deep. Oh, they're this. Oh, they do this. They can do that. No, it's none of that. It really, to me, most likely sounds very similar to their own work. And I think you can't grow when your music like that. But I don't know. Maybe he's going to drop something in the next year and it's going to be like, what? That shit. But I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyways, y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. See y'all in the next one.